And welcome back, Final Fantasy Randomizers, to the Duckling Rally Vodcast, where we look at the 4 people who won this race, which, hey, includes you, Thavian.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of weird and kind of neat, because now I get to see everyone else who did different from me and go, wow, did I make the right move? Did I not? Hey?
It's an excellent position to be in, especially when you're there with a veteran to help out with things. So I went over the blessings last time in terms of the VOD review we just did, but that said, if you're just joining us now, Theanar, why don't you fill them in on what the choices were for this seed?
I mean, he's not here, but I assume you mean me. We had the fighter with a plus 10 hit percent and telemagic, which we can see everyone took for good reason. The thief has hurt dragon and plus 10 MDef, mostly the wanting ability to run and luck, and the hurt dragon's kind of nice. Everyone else took that. The real question was who took what mage in what package. We see the red mage with plus 15 agility and legendary swords, access to a lot of magic, and the ability to swing some good swords. I see why some people took it. White mage, you got fighter armor, so it was good absorb, and buff magic, which gives you temper and fast, 2 cast at level 8. We see 3, 4, everyone took it. That's a good sign in my opinion. Black mage equips shirts and plus 20 hit points, gives you a little more survivability, but those people who took the red mage, understandable. The black mage does give you access to more magic though.
Yes, the Black Mage has the extra spell slots, and something that I just got finished watching, the Red Mage pretty much has everything you're going to have access to. I also noticed the 4 White Mages, which we lacked in the prior seed. The access to that buff magic is a very big thing, and in seeds like this one, it becomes really important because of something that we will find out later, the position of fast. Always having access to it is a very big thing, because you can end up wasting a lot of time if your strategy is very dependent on it. Now, in terms of the scaling on this one, I don't find the scaling very dependent on it, but everyone has their opinions and everyone has their skill levels.
Indeedly do. And as ducks, our skills are less than refined.
No, your skills are amazing. Do not sell yourself short on this one, Fabian. Now, that said, the difference between the red and the black mage, I am generally team red mage, just because if the spells I don't need are in the low or aren't in the low slots, I'm not going to want for them anyway. We've also got our races starting, or at least Fabian starting. There we go. So we're going to have them check white mage first, at white magic first, which is the correct decision, especially if you're running a red mage, because you are less likely to pick up the buff spells from that versus a massive offensive spell from black magic. And, picking up the same spells as last time. In that case, it's going to be the Ice 3 being the very big important one from the black side, as well as the Temper from the black side, which is going to make the slots that White Mage has for the buff magic just 2 slots of fast. We are not going to use Temper from it, I imagine.
My question would be how many other runners actually checked that hint giver? I knew hint givers were on, so found that cube. Good chunk of Gomo knowledge.
Yes, because this is a 4 orb seed, so they do need all of the items. This is the typical duck checking the early weapons.
First one heading to Toph.
Yeah. Rax, I think, also ignored the stores. Now, we've got both Scar and Potato checking the weapon shop. I'm against that play. And that is because we had a very good early spell in Ice 3. Ice 3 is going to solve most of our problems, so there's not a good reason to need to buy weapons. This is an all-loose siege. You're going to be opening a lot of stuff. Early weapons, more often than not, is just going to be a waste of time and menuing.
This is a fair point.
Mm-hmm.
When I found the silver axe up in that top left corner, that is excellent weapon to swing for the fighter. So yeah. That saves the need for the saber. And we see Scar actually going to get the crystal out of dwarves along with the slab.
Yeah.
Early item get first before going towards Provoca. So you can get that turn in with Matoya.
Because, again, I was mentioned in the prior aspect that I was looking over, but doing the dwarves is not a bad play in all loose flags because it's 2 checks. There's no guarantee that Sarah and the King actually give you any sort of major progression. And if there's experience in that box, or it's something like canoe or ship, that saves a bunch of time. And I believe this is a very front-loaded flag set as well. So the items are going to tend to be very early. The other aspect, and this is kind of important because the crystal was there and the slab, is that is also 20% more experience that Scar will be gaining off of this Garland fight, which I believe should be enough difference to get to level 3 off of this, where everyone else is getting level 2.
Yeah, that front-loaded incentive items, upping your scaling can make a huge difference, especially if you're trying to get a few charges. Or get to the hit break points with that plus 20% hit on that fighter. If that turns out to be your primary damage dealer, more hits sooner better.
Yeah. It was not enough for 3. That said, we've got the bottle, it's another 10%, and now we have Scar with the canoe, who's probably going to just go full right.
A totally understandable route. Personally, I chose Ice after Provoca because you had access to the warp and exit on the fighter.
Yeah.
Felt like it was a good proximity fast play, early ice or no ice, but in an all loose, as you said in the vodcast earlier, Volcano first does make some sense.
Yeah, Volcano first just because of amount of stuff. That said, there is not taking ice is not a bad play either, especially there's the other aspect that I didn't end up going a lot into, but if you do get a lot of experience in ice, it does make the difference in that your trip down Volcano has a higher rate of success as well, at the cost that you took the very big risk going to ice first.
Crown coming out of that or the crystal. Another thing, if Scar takes the go round the sea or heads all the way back towards Marsh through Northwest Castle,
yeah,
plenty of options to take.
It's true. We've got you and Potato both taking on the pirates at this time. Now we also have something that's going to be big for Scar. Again, this is all loose, so we don't know what has what. Obviously, with the hindsight of the seed, I know where things are. I'm going to try to avoid spoiling if this is the first one you're watching today. But Scar got the crystal into going to Matoya. Everyone else, when they do get around to doing dwarves, are going to have to return to Matoya, which is going to be a lot of extra movement. Now, granted, looking at Rax, it's going to have ship likely.
Yep, Rax taking the ice direct play. Proximity, logic, I agree. Personally, as you will see.
We gotta get in level 5 off the pirates. That's a good level to do Volcano. It's fine.
Yeah. Harm 4 for the white mages in the party. That is Vanilla Fade. There's the chime hint, so we know the chime is in the volcano. Volcano ends up having a whole lot of items.
Oh yeah, it's very loaded. But it's also Volcano. It's actually one of the main reasons why Volcano is often not incentivized if you have, like, there's incentives in certain places, just because there's so much stuff in Volcano that is just
I'm going to point this out. I literally just got blocked by the Mohawk guy so annoyingly, I exited out and then ran back in to get past him to save and exit.
The classic
That was
Mohawk.
just silly.
I can't wait for the day that the gender swap sprites are done and everyone gets to deal with female Mohawk doing the same thing.
It just reminds me of something out of Ninja Turtles or something, late 90s or early 90s, late 80s, punk girl with the Mohawk.
So we have Potato having gone the bounce after Provoca to dwarves, so not going down the rivers immediately. So we're going to give again, getting access to that crown and other such things, as Scar is not going to ice. Huh. Also going, I guess, has the crown, is going to go that way to go and get that check as well, which will pay off, honestly.
Take Northwest Castle, guarantee your turn, and if that turned out to be your key, you're right there with good chest density and marsh. So yeah. I don't dislike the play.
I mean, I dislike it on the fact of...
And there's the key.
Yeah. It is the key. It's going to end up in a lot of that. That said, again, I just find the going back on it without ship to be rough. Because if it doesn't have ship, or if it has ship, you're still going to be doing all of the rivers exactly as you would be, and you're going to need to figure out your way through them. If you don't have ship, then you've walked around the big overworld part so many times as to have lost most of your speed for the inner sea.
That is logical. Retracing is time spent.
Yeah. That also said, doing Astos as another bit in terms of a safety play is experience. Scar is now level 7, which is a very safe level with the scaling to do Volcano and Ice. At least just with access to what he has. Now, granted, checking the trap tile, as you should.
Seafood party pack, not so nice. Taking the fight, though, you've got Ice 3. It's worth a good chunk of experience if you can get through it without losing your party members.
And there's also should be the harm 4. So this is something that that I didn't get to comment on with the other, but the improved harm on the white mage is huge. Harm being untyped damage that is just a lot is very powerful. And same with Key continuing down first. And I'm gonna guess head to March? Yeah, March first, get all that, probably Elfland, and then swooping back up to do Dwarves, or to go to Volcano. Both are perfectly valid, because it's just density. Getting that Adamant, all the fun stuff.
Yeah, there's a lot of just tracking where to go, when to go. I like this from Potato going for the chests, but it's also doubled back on himself at this point. So if the chests pay off big, cool. If they don't, what are you going to do? Walk all the way past Northwest to Marsh, or are you going to continue on to Toph and then Canaria? There's the canal, halfway of access to the outer sea. But
Dorf was just hiding it in there the whole time. He didn't really need TNT.
I mean, with TNT, you might have been able to blast the door down, but the key is a much more elegant solution.
I mean, yeah.
Without risking collapsing the entire cave.
Yes. Because if not Rax getting that ship out of the Ice Cave, now that's going to mean a trip back to Provoca. And this is one... So this is an awkward moment, because you're in the river system, and you want to go to Volcano from here, generally. Now, that's going to be a huge backtrack, so you 100% go for the ship. It's just one of those painful, darn, it's an ice cave. The worst place that it could be. Actually, nah, I think Volcano is worse just because it always puts it at Elfland when you gotta walk all the way out. But...
At least it wasn't the floater. That would have made our lives too much easier.
Yeah, I know, right? You can never have early floater.
And this is when I remember, oh wait, I have a flame too. Why am I still swinging the scimitar?
Yeah. It's one of those bits where I probably wouldn't have bothered equipping it for a while. But that's also because, for the most part, I've learned that, like, do an early equip if you really need it. If not, just equip when you're at a boss.
Yeah, in menu, went for it, but menuing is probably the biggest weakness I have, and I have to admit that.
Yeah.
Potato heading back down, going to go to Elfland.
Rax getting that fade from there. So having access to Harm 4 and Fade, they do about the same damage, but Harm 4 does have some minor weaknesses in terms of not being able to crit, and supposedly slightly less accuracy, which means less damage sometimes.
Interesting find. Scar with the key going to Marsh ends up finding an X-Cal -1, giving that red mage something to do.
Yes.
Other than sling spells, which is its primary job. And there's Quad X, Nuke, and Rub at level 4 magic. That's huge upgrade. We saw Nuke be very effective. It's always effective. And the Herb for sale in proximity for Elfland just makes things easier.
The crown is out of money. We need you to go on a small grocery errand. Because they seen those golds.
There's the tail off the adamant, which is promotion very wanted in this flag set.
Yeah.
Or at least with these Blursings, because you want to be able to swing big sword with that fighter, or get magic charges. We don't know where magic is entirely.
I think I mentioned it in terms of Scar and Potato taking the red mage, is that all things considered, with the white mage and the red mage, I think in this flag set you can get away with a red mage carry with the legendary swords alone and not promoting. So that's the risk of, if I don't find tail, you can make the red mage work in this one. It's not fun. It's going to be very rough. But it's very doable in this flag set to just do a red mage carry with, like, the X-Cal that was found. Because you're going to find a lot of stuff.
probably a big tell is seeing how many of these late game pieces of equipment for the fighter we find, or the knight, I should say.
Yeah.
Seeing level 6 magic as Rax is in Crescent.
You know, one of these days we're gonna make a buff for the red mage that gives him the thief's like strength and hit progression, and he will become the new carry. We've done weirder things.
A new class, the overpowered Isekai protagonist red mage class that has all the skills needed to be everything, but it's not the strongest at any one thing.
Always has Sage. Always has Sage. Gets spell slots in every load. No. If we're gonna go Isekai protagonist, we gotta go Isekai protagonist. Gets the dual wield and the ability to equip all the fighters' armor. We can make this work. Make it an April Fool's setting. Just let the red mage have everything. Just take all of their permissions off and buff their stats into the nines.
Well, Rax making it all the way around the inner sea makes it to Volcano. Burns off that first encounter. One thing to note for the Ducklings who don't, getting in and out of the river does not advance the step encounter, so if you're burning off an encounter, try to stay off those river tiles.
Yes. Is the Vorpal -3 the professional wiffle bat?
Totally forgot to do it, but meant to throw it off the Bridge of Destiny. At that point, though, go mode, didn't care.
Yeah. He's getting the Ruby out of Marsh, which is good. It's 10% more experience. So that's the other bit, and this is a... I wouldn't do it in this flag set, but in other all-loose flag sets, it could be worth considering. If you've got your scaling tied to items, even if you're in a fairly good position where you've got most of what you need, but you're still missing some items, I wouldn't mind continuing the search, especially if you can find a hint for them, even if you don't need them, just if you're gonna need to go to high levels. Like if you, say, took a black belt in this flag set, which would be a horrible idea, but you can do it. But if you got like a black belt and you need the thing, the item experience bonus is really big. That's getting that incentivized rod out of Volcano, always a plus. A little bit of pure. And we got you, Thavian, picking up your level 3 and 4 spells.
Indeed they do. Finding some very useful sweepers.
Concrete, my favorite.
Volcano proving oh so valuable. The Vorpal not so much. You've got the chime in there. You've got the white shirt. There's that chime. The Masa, which we will see pulled out here in Agama Floor, is like I don't even need to promote necessarily kind of equipment.
Yeah, I was gonna say, Scar, you're low on houses. I probably would have done the insave.
Oh, and the Katana +2.
Oh, yes. Beautiful weaponry.
Yeah, put that instead of the X-Cal on the Red Mage, potentially, because, higher crit chance, but the Red Mage mainly because the X-Cal rolled down.
Yeah.
If the X-Cal rolled neutral or up, it would be the best sword to put on the Red Mage, because you get the damage advantages. More than just the crit.
I find the X-Cal doesn't suffer as much from small minuses compared to a lot of the other weapons. Like a minus Katana or Vorpal is next to useless. A minus Masa is fine because it's just raw damage numbers. A minus X-Cal is also generally fine, especially depending on how high the bonus damage or bonus elemental damage is scaled for your flag set. Because most of its damage doesn't tend to come from its raw, it tends to come from the bonus. So it can get away with minuses up to like 3 and still be a very good weapon.
Yeah, notice there, I went in, I found the gold bracelets plus in the shop in Elfland, and I was like, I'm shy of 1, can I sell some gear? And that was definitely a bit of a waste of time, knowing I could just come back for them when I needed them.
Yeah, I don't know. Elfland shop is a place where I wouldn't come back for them.
Yeah, that's one of the things I have to avoid is the bait of actually spending money and time going back for things.
Yeah.
Except for, like, I need it at the end.
Yeah. I think I mentioned it while I was doing the VOD review specifically, but in terms of checking item shops and such, I find the answer is generally just don't. If it's going to be like a higher scaling seed, find Pro Ring and Gold in case like you do a Toph dive and it's just horrible. But for the most part, you don't need to like be checking gear very often. You generally don't need to be buying in the middle of the run, especially in an all loose seed. You'll generally find enough stuff to make up the difference. If you're running a black and white mage, you're gonna want white or black shirt over top of the gold anyway. So unless you're like a thief carry, I wouldn't worry about it.
See that Oxyel coming out of Agma Floor, yet another Go mode item. Basically,
yeah.
the key, the loot, and the cube are all that's necessary for Go mode at this point. Well, key, loot, cube, and floater.
And we know where cube is, so.
Yes.
And that's
and
the
we know
biggest.
the key runs out of that crystal loop, so.
Yep. And that's the bit where I was mentioning that doing Volcano early, just because it's density of checks, if you're really worried about level and doing Ice, doing Volcano is never a bad choice, because just the amount of stuff there, you will get away with murder. Because, I mean, what did we have in there? We had the Rod that was hinted, we had the Oxyale, we've got a Massa, a White Shirt, like, just the sheer number of chests that are in Volcano, all in, like, one section. You've got access to warp and exit, so it's easy enough to get out and save if you're worried about your levels. You're fine. Do Volcano.
3 key incentive items plus the white shirt, the katana, and the Massa.
Yeah, it was a loaded Volcano. Which is why, as I was mentioning, in most of the higher difficulty flag sets, Volcano will generally never be placed with, like, an incentive item. Because it's just like, free item and walk to a boss. That's it, Scar hitting the damage tile. We shake our head. There we go.
It took me forever to realize, oh, there's actually a trap tile on that armory floor wall right before you go down. You have to go one tile past it.
I've been getting a lot better at my trap tile location. I was bad at it to begin with, so I may chastise now, but it's only because I don't want you to make my mistakes.
Do as I say, not as I do, because I experienced the do and it did not go well.
Yeah.
And there's the first orb lit, 1945 out for Rax.
Oh yeah. And this is where Rax should carry through to, I think he's been to Crescent already, so Elfland, and then getting the stuff in Dwarf, and then just finishing up at the top with Matoya. Oh, okay, no, it is there. Oh. I hate the draw distance in this game sometimes, so I'm like, oh no, it's not there.
Look, all you have to remember is Luffy, and everyone makes that mistake of the draw distance and just not going there or thinking you see it or don't see it.
That's it. We got Crystal.
We don't have that dock on, so
there is one dock that's there though, and that's Cheeky Matoya dock. Will we see it? I guess getting the tail early and probably gonna cash in that TNT, which with exit I don't mind too much.
Most definitely. It'd be nice if he had the key, but he has to go all the way to Matoya to get that crown, so it's a chain.
Yep. Dwarves is one of those situations where I'm always like, yes. Do I want to go there with just one of the 4 things I need, or or do I pass it? In terms of all loose, getting the 2 early dwarf checks, just in terms of, again, they can load really well and then lead to a nice big curve around. But yeah. And yeah, the item givers were very loaded in this series. Which is very unusual compared to most all looses.
The fact that there was a French vanilla-esque chain of items for the canal or for the key.
Yeah.
And the TNT being the loot. And with the key, you got the cube, at which point you basically are in go mode once you find the floater. So it was a very interesting seed. And hey, there's the thing I hate. Anyone else see the bowls with nuke?
Yeah. Vaughn did.
Thankfully, I had actually exited out and saved before going, so I didn't lose my entire armory dive.
Yep, that is something that I find myself often doing, especially if I have exit, is just like I finish armory, save, and then do the rest, because in case there's something dangerous or in case Carrie's gonna kill me, it's a good emergency save to have.
If it weren't for the step count being the way it was, one trick I have started using is burning one encounter on the floor before to try and cycle the encounter table.
Yeah. I was gonna say, while I was doing the spoiler seed back in the fall league, I had managed to perfectly route volcano encounters based on which floor I needed them on. It was rather insane where I was deliberately taking extra steps just for the sake of in this small hallway that you're going through now getting an encounter because it was the easiest one to deal with. So
I
yeah,
really,
encounter volcano manip in encounter in volcano is a thing. I say tripping over my own words.
these are the moments where you look back and it's like, wait, I knew there was nothing in that top left, I could have just skipped it.
Yep. I'm notorious for not remembering stuff if I take a death, where it's just like I know there was something in here. The other part of it, and anyone who's ever caught me playing Archipelago will call me out on it. But if I like accidentally reset my game because I'm still in Link's Awakening mode, and I'm like, yes, I've opened a chest quickly, press all the buttons. I am notorious for opening everything again, just so that like in my head I can look at it and be like, yes, I've opened that already. Which is sadly not a luxury we get in good old Final Fantasy. A closed chest and an empty chest look the same.
Everyone is in a dungeon that either everyone else has already done or is doing concurrently. That's
Yep.
just how much of a divergence just these 4 runs have had.
Yep. We're seeing a bit of that crisscross in terms of it. We've got Rax taking the metal slime encounter, which is not a terrible thing. Because he's in here, he needs to get the ruby, which is the only thing in here, if I recall correctly.
Yeah. I personally saw this Mummy Whiz Mummy pack in ice on the Dragon Tile. Ended up taking it because I got a good number of Whiz Mummies.
Yeah.
Plus having
Sometimes-
Fade and Ice 3
Yeah.
was good enough damage for it.
Oh yeah, 100%.
Potato remembering, wait, that right chest does nothing. No, Potato doesn't realize that one. It is a
Yep.
linked chest.
As a Rax, I'm going to tell you what I told Vaughn, and that is, in terms of an all-loose flag set, don't take a tile grind anywhere other than, like, you found Agas with every item available, because the best place to do any sort of grind for an all-loose is generally in Topher. If you still need levels, take them in Topher.
And this is when I remember White Mage Fast, Masa Fighter, Nuke Fast, Swing Masa doing excellent work.
Yeah.
That's 670, and that makes a difference. There's the crown pickup, 4 racks, getting ready to make the beeline to get the key.
Mm-hmm.
As Potato goes on to Carrie's floor as I leave.
Now, we notably have Rax not having the canal. I actually don't remember where that was. I think it might have been here in the Astos locked, but I'm not 100%.
Yeah, it was definitely on the left side of the map with the
Yeah.
ship in ice. So
Yeah. It was one of those really early pickups, and then if you went the left way. Which, again, for this one, I'm pro right way just because of going to Ice and Volcano early. Like, in terms of this one, the more I think on it, the fact that Key was one way, which then puts the density back on the left side to make it at least comparable to the right side, versus ship being on the right side and saving all of that movement speed, neither is the wrong gamble in this case, but I still think doing Volcano and Ice first is the correct choice.
the way it maps out, it would definitely have been a solid play.
Yeah.
Be interesting to get a chance to look at one of our other veteran runners who who ran the seed, see how they handle it in comparison, because I can say at least one veteran runner who made it destroyed all of us.
Oh yeah. And I mean, a lot of that, like counter manipulating it properly, knowing the scaling on it. So I've noticed this pretty much each you in your own different way have taken like some sort of encounter that's like, yes, I need the experience here, and it's like, you don't. You're safe to go with how low this scaling was. The average EXP on this one, or the average like scale on this one, was like 104%, which is negligible in the grand scheme of things. So most things in this flag set were made of paper. And because you're going to need to be opening everything, you're going to find at least one good thing. And I think that's why the red mage pick is the slightly better one in terms of things. Just because of access to that legendary swords means finding that random thing that's going to be your endgame weapon and being able to equip it immediately means being able to take on things like Carry, Lich, potentially Kraken if it was a particularly bad seed. Being able to take them early because you've got the gear to make up for it. Especially with the fast on the white mage. So, we've got our top 4 having all of the white mage for the fast, and from my knowledge, I believe the top 2 taking the red mage.
This is me going, wait a second, what am I missing? I didn't realize that Crystal. I wanted to check if we had the River to Melman, which I've been seeing on the Lefanian Ladder, or not the Lefanian Ladder, the Mystic Quest Archipelago run. Realized, wait, no, I have the Crystal. Go on there.
Yep.
I admit I did not check all the flags. I will also make a rundown to check if we had the dock over at Cardia for early promotion. Bit of waste of time because I did not fully check the flags. Check the flags, people. Check the flags.
I was gonna say, do you have two monitors, Thavian?
2 at home, 3 at work.
So, just leave the flags open on monitor 2. And then if you're really worried if something's there, just click it.
Very true.
I am notorious for like every race, unless it's like super easy flags, like all loose, where I don't need to think about anything, I will generally read the flags the first time and then leave them open in case I need to reference something later. And considering that I've had to take part in some of the harder and harder tournaments where it comes to like the Tournament of Champions and the Lefanian League, it's been a very valuable skill to acknowledge that I'm not going to remember every flag that's there. Leaving them open is a valuable tool. Because the time it will take me to click a new screen versus the time it will take me to manually check it in game is going to lose me time.
Indeed. And there is Rax getting that cube, putting him floater away from go mode.
And if I recall correctly, floater is, I think I determined it kind of has to be Earth. Rax is still checking the other key checks because he hasn't finished them yet. But in terms of it, we got Scar already on the way to being like, yep, it's gotta be in Earth because there is nowhere else it can be. Well, it could be in Titans, which it might be. Shifty eyes. Mages.
The translation of the slab from Scar, something that, I mean, could prove valuable later as a reason to go somewhere for other reasons.
I mentioned it in the specific VOD review, but I disagree with translating the slab with what items you guys had.
I honestly, in hindsight, felt the same.
Yeah.
And there's that floater from Rax, full go mode at 35 or 31 minutes or so. That's...
Yeah. We have Scar doing Earth first, which is not terrible. It is technically higher density of number of checks that are actually there versus Titans. That said, Titans is easier, and you don't have to go as deep. So, disagreement with Scar doing Earth first in this case, because he's got Ruby, but I understand where it comes from in terms of the odds of it hitting in Earth are higher.
I take the same route. Admittedly, actually, after this quick dive down to check for the thing, I could have checked for the flag before running the seed. Meanwhile, Potato, out of ice, gets into the ship and continues the inner sea navigation, and Rax gets in the air at 31:48.
Also, my apologies, Scar, it is a they. My bad. As a trans person, I will now shame myself and stand in the corner. That said, Dark Moon, give me pronouns. Thank you.
There's that tail pickup from Potato with the TNT and the key. Gonna get a one-time dive into dwarves minus those first two chests, which gonna work out. Rax finding the nuke bowls in Earth.
Everyone's favorite.
Yeah, thankfully I believe I avoided those. I only saw nuke twice in this entire seed. Yet to see the other one. We all know where it is.
Yes, somewhere in Toph. Fabian, what was I just saying about doing Titans before?
You said Titans before. I was like, well, I mean, I've got everything to do Earth. I'm basically in go mode. If I find the floater, I don't need to stop anywhere else, so I might as well take the densest chest location.
It's just Titans is right there. And you'd also, the other bit, we haven't seen anyone do it because obviously Titans was the last thing. But in All Loose, saving at the other side of Titans, going to see Sarda, getting the $2 from him because he never has anything and just resetting is the play.
Yes, using the trick where you can go in, go out the entrance or on the other side, come back in, reset out if there's nothing, or exit out, or you can go all the way down to Sarda after saving there, reset out of Sarda, and be right there. There are definitely ways you can route that around.
Yeah. It's one of those things, and in terms of this difference here, getting all of the checks in Earth isn't bad, which Rex has the floater and is ignoring it. So we're seeing Rax basically being able to bullet through here without going into all of these side rooms that are out of the way. You have things like TFC. You have, I mean, obviously this second room that's going to happen here. Now, you've got the stuff that's in Earth, which we didn't see Vaughn pick up a ribbon. Rax's pronouns are now Rax and Rax, by the way.
I believe the ribbon was a non-existent item.
There should
Unless
be
I did
three.
pick one up.
There should be 3. If there's one in Earth, it makes a difference in terms of things. Now, granted, I didn't see any major status. We've got Rax already taking on Lich and getting that little bit of a lead in terms of things, which, again, it makes a difference in terms of this. And this is another one of those bits where I will, as much as I've been chastising the Earth play because of how fast and easy the Titans is, I will at least give credit to the... Oh god, Rex picked up Floater before finishing Earth. We just talked about that too. But in terms of taking Earth first, if you're in a race against a significantly more skilled opponent, doing Earth instead of Titans is a risk that makes more sense, because you know if there's nothing in Titans, they're also going to check Sarda, which is obviously, even with the reset, going to take extra time, so you could get some advantage there if you're both going to have to search Earth. But Titans is also just one of those ones that is so quick to do in All Loose, and it's just 4 right there with basically easily resettable encounters. It's one of those ones that I wouldn't place on the, like, take that risk one, but I can understand anyone taking my take the risk advice of just doing Earth and hoping that you don't have to go to Titans as a potential.
It is definitely a valid play, and knowing in hindsight the floater was there, it cut Earth to under half.
Yeah.
As far as what is being seen by Scar or I actually exploring all of Earth. Which Rax having promoted, Potato getting the floater, not bothering to go to Earth, goes straight down and promotes before even fighting a dungeon.
And I was going to say, you remember what I was saying about not needing to worry too much about the golds in shop? Scar just ran into a gold here in the Earth. So taking the extra time to spend, it's in an all loose setting. Again, unless you find like nothing, it's not worth it.
Yeah, then as you can see from Potato, the sheer preponderance of endgame promotion level gear that was already picked up makes those purchases more or less moot. Yeah.
It's an all loose thing. Know where Pro Ring and Gold are in case you end up being bad and Toph is bad. But otherwise, don't bother with them until you absolutely have to. That's a lie.
Sorry to Bubbles Soda Co. No carbonation of bubbles this time. Everyone in go mode by the time they go to C.
Yes. We will have a letter of apology drafted and ready for you.
We're saving the carbonation for later extraction.
Yes.
Using that warp trick after checking Earth Armory to save a few steps.
Yes. Grabbing a couple of
actually checking the 4-pack Quick 3 on his way to Kraken. Probably really just want to say, can I find a ribbon? Please give me a ribbon. But
that's 100% the reason. You take the greed checks just in case you can find a ribbon.
It would be interesting to get a dump of all the chest locations to find where the ribbons were, because none of us, to my understanding, found a single one.
Yep. If I had to guess, they're in Sea and Sky. If I had to guess. Now, it would be very funny if they... Oh, no, wait. Herb was shop item. Disappointment. My disappointment is immeasurable and my day is ruined. Alright, we clearly have to teach all of the ducks to just do Earth even if you find Floater. Because the time it takes to fly there, you lose the quick path. Oh, checking the Hall of Giants for a grind tile? Alright, Potato, you've got my interest. I respect it. Oh, it's on? Alright.
This was by no means something I saw or thought to do, so...
Couldn't you go up and down to get double eye tile on this, though?
Yes, up and down is double eye. If you go past, it recycles the first trap tile.
Yeah.
Another thing the randomizer taught everyone, that there is 2 different encounter tiles there.
Yes.
Made out of Earth as Rax takes on Kraken 1. Kraken 1 not hitting too hard in this case. I love this. Going for the cheeky Brackstrap. I mean, you have Nuke, you've got a Masa, you've got a fast cast on the Masa swing.
Yeah.
You might as well.
Yeah.
Although it looks
Kraken's
like he just double fasted instead of using that temper charge and switched to lock instead of Brack. But it didn't really matter. 10 hits, what was that, 800 damage?
It'd be double fasting in order to get the Katana and the Masa up to fasting, because they're not going to need much else. And again, the White Mage's casts are for fast, because we have Temper at 1 on the Black Mage. If we really want to cast Temper, there's a better way to do it.
Yeah, there we go. Me picking up the floater, heading out, not even bothering to check Sarda, because, I mean, it's a quick stop if I need it. But then I look at this like, I'm in full go mode. I'm not checking another box for the rest of this game, because if I need a ribbon... well, it's a risk.
So I'm
gonna checking black magic, trying to find fast, finds exit at level 7 white.
So notably for Potato on this one, I don't mind this eye check if this was a black belt seed. In this case, again, just taking encounters in Topher is the better play for getting the remaining levels you need. With access to that Masa and that Katana, you don't need the levels off of this grind tile. Like, you're gonna be fine for taking on Kraken and what do you call it? Because we even have Scar without promotion ready to take on Kraken here.
Yeah, and with the single eye, even if you've got a lot of items, that's more for the solo grind as you hit the black belt. Meanwhile, I do the stupid thing and waste a lot of time buying some gold bracelets when I'm about to promote and have a lot of really good armor anyways.
Yeah.
My biggest regret is spending too much time in stores when I really should have just gone loot goblin mode.
I was gonna say, Mechlin apparently went full loot goblin mode because knew that the 2 ribbons were in Mirage, 1 was on the bubble side, and the power bonk was also on bubble side.
Yeah.
So yes, they were in Sea and Sky.
Scar taking on the Kraken as Rax makes to the Q block. I go for promotion, and Potato going to finally take on Earth.
So I think this is where we're going to see, and I think I mentioned it, that with the Red Mage having the legendary swords and just finding that Masa early, I don't think Scar's going to go for promotion in this seed. The Thief is good for taking on Tia, but even like with a katana, but even then, like there's other swords that are available to just continue to do that damage. And oh, the cheeky Quad X! Alright, well, Scar, you are now my new friend.
Respect. The Bane didn't work for the other, or the Brack didn't work for the other, whichever it was, but the Quad X gets it done. Saves a few hits.
They have gotten off the cheeky death spell. Fist approves. We will send you a potential application in the mail.
Another katana being found in CC's.
Yep.
Sadly, we can't dual wield katanas.
I guess with the low stats, I actually really respect the Quad X play. Hearing that they did carry with it as well, just in terms of the damage that you're going to be doing anyway. As long as the turn order rolls out, one Masa hit's generally going to put most things in range. So I really respect that. It's an excellent plan I didn't even think of.
I mean, the black belt, or the black mage is going to, or the red mage is going to, what, nuke otherwise?
Dude. Yes. And honestly, the nuke's just going to be raw damage that, for the most part, is going to be about the same as the Quad X. Like, in terms of finishing things off. We got Potato with all of the levels in the world going to smack a Lich twice.
Rex seeing the walking war mech. I did not see this. I probably wouldn't have taken it, but Rex is. It's like, this is my endgame levels if I survive.
It's true. I'm always a fan of taking Warmech for the memes, but that's also because I'm insane.
Warmech with the AP flamethrower trying to incinerate the rioting proletariat.
The other aspect with this Warmech in particular, managing to run into it, Mirage, because we're in Go mode, we don't need to get anything in Mirage. We didn't pick anything up that's going to warrant a save. You can use this Warmech to guess, or at least know what's not in the pool for Topher, which is a lot of the reason why I tend to fight Warmech. It's less for the experience and more for the what am I not going to have to put up with later.
Well, Stop, Nuclear, and a Fire 3 have been seen so far, and that is levels, minus the Black Mage, but I mean 26 on the 3 standing characters is pretty dang strong.
I mean, but what if you want that fast cast at level 8 that's in Lefay? Oh, it was such a bad place for that.
That's why you take the White Mage, as all of us did.
Yeah, exactly.
Cracking down on my side, Tia being pulled by Scar, just going for the swings. Does stack some evasion rather than try and swing with that Thief. You said before how the Thief had Dragon, or Hertz Dragon, it could do a lot more. But Scar's also not promoted, so it does not have the Katana. And there's that Quad X that was spoken of.
3 Quad X's! Oh! Well, Scar is my new hero. I'm getting a Scar tattoo. Fellison, hear me out. We send Scar a invitation to Fist. Just for the moxie.
Rax also through, finished with all the orbs. Scar heading down to Topher. What Rax chooses to do, whether he goes try and find that fast at Lefane, proximity check, or gonna go... No, going up.
Fist evolves into Fist with 2 X's. I love it. Or 2 S's.
Rax using the proximity to Crescent to res the downed character before moving on.
Well, actually, I think...
get magic.
Actually, no, Fellison. Sonny's retiring, so we need a new S. Scar can be the new S.
Speed bump sees fade, speed bump sees nuke, speed bump disappears.
Bye-bye, speed bump. The only fiend who can't be taken out with a Quad X because it's a death spell.
That red giant Agma pack was stupid.
It was also very jaundiced.
Carrie takes a nuke, Carrie takes a Masa swing, stands up and survives, does some damage to the fighter, but I mean, you got a Fade, you got a Katana, or a Thief swinging a sword, it gets the job done.
Yeah, with the power of these spells, and again, the fighter using the Masa, there's not much that promotion's gonna do. The early spells, Cure 4 was really good, but you'd have to go to Elfland or Lefane to get it. So in terms of it, there's nothing that was really worth the fighter promotion. So I think Scar made the correct play in not taking the long walk to promotion. And honestly, I think that's what won them this race.
Yeah, not having to promote, or not promoting, yeah, you don't get the best armor, but it wouldn't have helped you against Kraken and nuking all but the fighter.
Yeah. Now, granted, this is the disadvantage of not promoting. Things hurt.
And Kraken having
Oh.
Cure 4 on top of it,
Oh.
kind of, and being evasive.
Yeah.
This Kraken was not fun, and definitely requires a redive and rethink. As Speed Bump dies on Rack's side.
I'm going to bring up something that I've said a few times when I've been commenting on these VODs, where it's you need to take risks if you're going to beat players who have a higher skill level than you. Scar not taking the promotions is a risk worth taking. Now, granted, I think we're going to see it here because of just how tough things were. And this is a good play because it didn't affect anything up until now. Taking this now is a good play because it means you're going to be able to equip the new stuff in terms of just the dragon armor to be able to survive. And you're at a position that you're basically fine.
I feel vindicated in that I'm not the only one who tried to take the triple Agama Red Giant. Unfortunately, the mute, the zap, the fog, also affecting Rax. We both ended up resetting after that one. I go in for the first time. He goes back in the second. Does check the validation checks. Finds absolutely nothing of note. As Scar does the weapon shuffle, and Potato is on his way into the Sky Palace to deal with Tia.
I like the swapping the X-Cal to the fighter, because at this point, we don't need the legendary sword bit on the Red Mage, and we didn't see anyone else do that. We saw them just stick with the Master, which isn't a bad play, but the extra elemental damage that you're going to get in Toph makes a very big difference in terms of, and I'm imagining we're going to see it now, just doing raw extra damage here.
The moment sleep hit most my party, I went, ugh. And Rax actually taking the fight. Gets the turn order, so it doesn't have to see all the spells, potentially.
Yep. Now, this is also one of those bits where, again, I mentioned that the Toph dive, or the Toph grind is actually not terrible, because this Agama pack is worth a lot. Anything that you take on the first floor is worth a lot, so everyone took their grinds at fairly different spots. Scar didn't take a grind, and again, we're going to see that difference come up here, because that extra bit that Rax is now taking, they went from Scar taking a death and Rax catching up to now Scar being ahead. And the extra damage that X-Cal is going to do in terms of the additional elemental damage is going to be the difference between taking this down between 1 turn and 2.
And it's my turn to face the Kraken and feel the pain of atomic flames.
Which is, again, also where I'm going to repeat that bit about, remember what I said about the extra elemental damage making up for an X-Cal rolling low. Oh no, I know what I'm talking about. They're going to ask me to do this more.
Swing, nuke, and... Or Lithrine Fade. Want to save a nuke charge. That was my thought there, but it wouldn't matter because, well, the amount of damage the nuke would have done may have tricked it over, actually. Cost me my mages, and this is where I thought I could reset, I could try 2-man, or I could remember I can go get Lock 2 and Temper on the Ninja.
Yep.
And I exit out and go get those spells.
It's not a bad play, honestly. It's one where you're technically ahead of Scar, but again, we're going to see the elemental damage from that X-Cal is going to just chew this apart. I think even if you'd stayed and managed to get through, which we did see Vaughn keep a 2-man at the end and still manage to make it through because just the power of the Masa rolling up in this one.
Yeah, I really put value on that fast when it comes to Chaos and the potential of Lock making a difference.
Yeah.
We see Kraken 2 on Potato's side. Will Kraken 2 nuke the heck out of Potato's party?
Yes.
As Tia 2 on Scar's side.
Yep. And all of that extra elemental damage from the ninja and that. And so, yeah, we see 350 from that Exhale without a fast, so it's just peak damage here.
Yeah, the nuke does not take a single character from Potato. That is huge to see. Can continue.
I think they did take 2 turns on the on Kraken too, but in terms of it, we basically saw him 1 turn every other fiend.
Indeed,
Just
do.
using
And
that
I
Exhale.
notice Rax going into the or the Kraken floor chest area.
Mm-hmm.
I don't understand what this move was for, but meanwhile, Scar, our first runner to hit Chaos, this will not be that hard of a fight from experience. We get the white shirt, we get the fast, we get the swing, we get the temper.
I wonder if it was bleed over from doing the vanilla one where that had the Masa in it. Or just
Going
hoping there
for
was a
a
ribbon in
walking
it.
grind and looking for a ribbon. Honestly, I don't blame you, but at this point, the ribbons are like, I mean, cool.
Yeah. In terms of it, I don't like Volcano floor for the walking grind in Toph because you risk running into the 4 Grey Worms, which are kind of and really annoying.
Honestly, the walking grind I always like for in Topher is if you can get some Gasty packs on the loot
first
plate floor, but
yeah, I like
or some
worms on that
frosty
floor.
packs or so on the first floor as well. These Agamas were, yeah.
Go sleep. They give you the sleeper hold. And that is Scar taking out Chaos with the Massa on that, with the earlier levels, because it wasn't super necessary with the grinding, taking advantage of basically everything that this had to offer. They took this win and very much deserve it. So a very big GG's to Scar on that one. As Potato takes the nuke from Chaos. Oh.
Wait, Chaos had nuke?
He apparently had nuke. You know what? What are Chaos's pronouns? Would they be he because they used to be Garland, or would they be like they them because Chaos should not have a gender?
I mean, it is a multiple identity entity, so they as a plurality? I mean, I can't say.
There is that face on their crotch. As the downside of Warmech being in the pool for that, we have Fried Potato basically taking about a minute behind Scar, not terrible, and that grind on the eyes making, a bit of a difference in terms of it.
GG's to the Potato.
Mm-hmm. Now, I think if we'd seen a lower roll nuke from Scar, that would have been, like another 5 minutes off that time? Like, a
Indeedly do.
decent amount if we hadn't seen the high roll nuke take out the party.
I got lucky there. Instead of the turn 2 nuke, Kraken only takes out the Black Mage. I have life 2. I swing, get the kill on, and continue on.
Mm-hmm. That's it, a GG for Potato. I'm going to tell Potato one bit of advice, and that's just that items were additional experience, and he did take the eye grind. Buying the herb, I think, would have been good. I don't think he could afford it at the time, so it wasn't a bad thing to skip just because it was just 1 check. Now, granted, that was also a risk that it could have been, floater at the time. But having it and just getting the extra experience of the eye grind probably would have saved 1 or 2 cycles of eyes getting to the level that he wanted. So that's a small bit of improvement of just if items is your experience and you see one, even if you don't need it, grabbing it just for the experience is going to save you time over the course of the run, which is it's likely a small time save in most cases, but it is still a time save that is worth considering.
And this is the value of getting the temper on the ninja. So I've got temper, swing, temper, fast, or temper swing, temper available. Actually, at this point, out of tempers because I used the fast cast. Going to switch to swing and attack and get the job done.
And there is you finishing third, Fabian. Congratamondo.
'Twas a good run, but GG's for the well-deserving winners.
Oh, yes.
Meanwhile,
This is the bit.
Rax dealing with the Kraken loses the Black Mage as well, has the life and life 2 to bring it back up,
Oh, yes.
and moves on to the honestly not so horrible Tia fight.
You know, low-key, everyone's always like, oh man, I really need fast. I am notorious for really wanting life 1 if it's the only one available in battle. I'm just like, I really want life 1 as an emergency button. And I've been known to look for it just because I tend to do very under-leveled Toph dives. But that's a me mistake, and a mistake that is a safety bit, so if you avoid it, you can generally get away. Oh, hey, Scar.
Howdy.
GG's.
Thank you.
I didn't even know we were allowed to have interviews for this one, but hey, I'm down for it. How do you feel?
I feel pretty good about that time. I saw where I could have saved time, both in execution and in theory,
Oh, yeah.
but I liked my route.
I liked it, too. I think mentioned the one thing that I would have done would have been just doing Ice and Volcano, just so you can do the whole loop and hit Elfland before you go to, Marsh. But that's my personal take. I do tend to like visiting Elfland before I consider Marsh, so...
I just didn't want to go to Ice Cave. I don't like Ice Cave.
Nobody likes Ice Cave, but in all loose, it's always got the goods.
Nah. There are
Yeah.
times where
It got the goods. You had you have warp and exit.
Yeah, sure. But not having to go there at all would have been so much better.
Phyllis saying we got to remind to get the third place interview. Thavian, get Thavian on the line.
GG's. Honestly, saw a lot of menuing mistakes and the confidence to try the 2-man, not having fast. I mean, having fast proved very valuable because I didn't have to see the nuke on Chaos, so I'm kind of cool with that. But yeah, could definitely do better. It's a learning experience.
Everything's a learning experience.
Oh, Chaos had 2 nuke casts.
Wah, 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 da.
Rax seeing an early one and then seeing a second one as he gets the final swings and damage poison. On to the clinch moment solo swing.
And we got it.
Easy money. Got him.
All you need is a massa and a dream. That said, GG's to all of our runners on this one. Well-deserved placements, and I very much look forward to this class in the Derby, because just looking at the times and the 2 veterans that did that, all of you beat the second place veteran that went in on this one, and that is no small accomplishment. Hello, Binks. You have once again returned to the desk.
I can assume that is a cat.
Yes.
But regardless, GG's to all of our competitors on stream, off stream, my fellow ducklings.
Oh yes, I look forward to commentating and offering pointers where I can on stuff. I may be the Enigma player, but I at least know a bit.
Red Mage, Best Mage proved effective.
Oh yes, in terms of it, and I think I mentioned it before, it's Red Mage can learn basically every Black Mage spell for all of the early levels. And for the late levels, unless you've got a seed that's like got scaling that says you're going to need to go into like 20-30 with the squad, it's generally just fine to take a Red Mage. Now, granted, with the new int adds to damage, the Black Mage will do way more damage with spells, so keep that in mind. But the Red Mage is never a bad decision for your Black Mage sub.
Now you say that, which makes me think...
for this Black set? Was that even on for this flag set?
It wasn't on for this flag set, but
Which
anyone
makes
that
me
it's
think
on,
it's going to
something
be
consider.
next. Because you'd be spoiling it right before we get the reveal after this.
Oh yes,
It'd be
I'm
very funny if it
psychic. I
isn't.
know what Saracen's gonna roll. I'm psychic. I'm playing too much Dan Ganronpa. Do you get to run in the derby if we top this? You get to run in the derby, period, if I recall correctly. It's just a matter of the eliminations start. No, it's points. You get points as you go. It's been a while since I've derbied, and by that I mean 1 whole year. Can't expect me to remember things that long.
Is there anything else to cover?
Well, I
Oh.
mean, I think one thing to cover will be final thoughts from Scar, because we do have them here.
It was a fun little flag set. It was like felt like Winter Tournament 2024, but with training wheels.
Winter Tournament Light.
Yeah.
Wait,
The scaling was low, and it's. I went into that Topher at levels I would have gone into Topher in the Winter Tournament 2024 flag
Yeah.
set.
and you weren't the only one. Pretty much everyone did. The one
No, everyone took a
veteran-
grind.
Yeah, everyone took a grind. They're like, yeah, I'm gonna need those levels. I need that extra hit on that massa.
You know, it's like 70 to 150 scaling. You can.
Oh yeah.
I could have gone in 2 levels lower and still been fine.
About level 18 would have been just fine. And that's a Thavian. You were in the race. How about your final thoughts?
GG's to all runners, as said before. Definitely need to reconsider my cautiousness. Like, I need to buy pures, I need to buy tons of houses, I need to buy softs, I need to buy gear. When loot goblining is like the clear thing. Also, always read the seed ahead of time, all the flags, because I jumped in totally like wasted time looking for a dock that wasn't there. I didn't really double check the scaling to know what was what. But all things considered, I'm happy with the run.
You're just preparing for when you eventually get to be in the Platy Party.
Having to just adapt on the fly to a new seed that no one's seen until 5-10 minutes before we have to start.
You have 10 minutes to figure it out. Go.
I can read a flag set in 10 minutes.
I can also read a flag set in 10 minutes. I'm looking forward to my Platy Party. That said, I think that is the time we have here. Saracen's going to be rolling the flags that people are going to have for next week's race. So look forward to that if you want to stay tuned. If you're a duck, definitely stay tuned, because the sooner you know what's up, the better, and getting to watch the demonstration is going to be a huge thing. I'm not doing the demonstration. I'm just here to criticize and never show that I'm bad at playing the games. That said, as we look at our wonderful splash screen and I wait for the day that good old, I can't remember the name of the music app, someday rolls Choco Mountain for it, my dream will not come true, but it is time that at least I bid you adieu for the night as we set up for the last stream happening on FFR. I have been Maddie. Thavian has been my lovely co-host. Fellison being an amazing tracker along with Catnip. And Darkmoon, as usual, an amazing restreamer for things. Special thanks to everyone involved. Special thanks to you, the audience. And we will see you in a bit.